of the next hour, an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, that'll be enough.
But you did say 3 o'clock last week, so we could go longer. We'll go longer.
Well, if Dave wants to drop off, we have more.
David Weiss likes it.
We'll do the best. I'll do the best I can do.
You like it. You know you like it.
You ain't got a life. Come on, man. What do you
know you like?
It's 4th of July. Beautiful fucking weather.
I got another podcast.
Oh, you got to go celebrate your freedom? Is that where you're going, Dave?
As long as we do what the government says, we can celebrate our freedom. We're good. I got a crew of people on the boat. So.
Here we go.
It would be really great if the flat earthers were all wearing hats and the rounders were not. That would be a simple way to understand who's what.
Take your hat off. Oh, no, keep your hat on, Sam.
Dave, are you wearing a felt shirt?
I am wearing what shirt?
McAfee. Is that McAfee?
Is it made out of felt?
McAfee didn't kill himself.
Doesn't it look like it's like sheen?
Yeah, no, it's a regular cotton T-shirt.
I think it's because
kind of like
he's on green screen right now. That's
because of that.
All right, Johnny, whenever you're ready.
Actually, I'm flying through the solar system right now. This isn't a green screen. I'm moving in 4 different directions at once. Can't you tell?
Superman.
Maybe it's 5 directions. Maybe you didn't count the multiverse moving.
Yeah.
Johnny, whenever you're ready.
5 million miles an hour.
Everybody, please be quiet.
Here we go.
So we start.
Ready?
3, 2, 1.
All right, let's get into it. Welcome to the Rumble, another one of these fun shows where we have people debating, and I love these shows. Joining me is my partner in crime. We have a Tinfoil Hat comedy show. They're all kicking in gear. We're going to be in San Diego July 24th, and then we're in Dallas and OKC the following weekend. You can go to samtripoli.com for all those dates. Please welcome Eddie Bravo.
Thank you very much.
Eddie, always a pleasure. How was the 4th?
The 4th was awesome.
Did you win? Did you enjoy your freedom?
Yes.
So much freedom.
Had some baby back ribs.
Look at you.
Corn on the cob, which I usually don't do. And that was last night. And the craziest thing is I didn't know that we digest food so quickly because in the morning dump this morning, there was fucking corn.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, that was like 12 hours. That's 12 hours.
Now you know, right?
That's 12 hours.
Welcome to the old codgers show.
That shit goes right through you quick.
You don't waste any time. You're in it to win it. So this is a great show. Again, you can see Eddie live at he crushed it in Houston. We're gonna be on the road doing some more gigs. Again, go to samtripoli.com. So Eddie, and then we also have returning champion. He has become, I believe, the poster boy for Flat Earth. He wherever he is, he's arguing for Flat Earth, and I'm always honored to have him on the show. Please welcome Dave Weiss. How are you, Dave?
Hell yeah.
What's going on? Arguing the truth is the easy part.
So Dave,
you're always right.
Dave, you have a bunch of things you always like to pitch. So where can they find you? Tell us about your app real quick.
Yeah, you can find me at theflatearthpodcast.com. That's where all my links are. And then my app, which is the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay, available on Android and Apple. It's the highest rated app in the app stores. Everyone loves it. 5 stars all the way, except a few trolls, and they're knocking it down with 1 stars. But I have a challenge for you guys when we're done, and I'm going to give you 2 Bitcoins if you win.
All right. 2 Bitcoins. They're worth 35 grand right now. Yep. So we got stuff going on in the studio right now, Johnny?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, we can hear you. Eddie, you brought a bunch of friends on both sides of the Flat Earth discussion. So why don't you tell us who's here with us?
Well, the last time I was on, we had David Weiss on as well. And everybody's pretty much pro Flat Earth. I mean, XG, he's pretty much Flat Earth. He just won't admit it because he's still trying to get laid.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as you admit you're flat, if you're single, do not tell anybody you're Flat Earth if you're single.
Okay? There is a Flat Earth dating site linked
you
in
ain't
the
gonna
app.
get any pussy.
If you have the app, you can join the Flat Earth dating site. It's taken off.
There's 4 chicks on that dating site.
There's 5 chicks. 5 chicks.
If you meet a woman into Flat Earth, they get grabbed up very quickly. That's super. That's like Malibu real estate right there.
And Sam, the last time we were on, we had David Weiss, we had XG, who's Flat Earth, but he won't admit it because he's trying to get pussy. I totally get it. And then we have Sam, who's totally Flat Earth, but he won't admit it because he doesn't want to ruin his career. So he just claims realm.
What career?
You just claim realm. I get it, but you guys are Flat Earthers. You guys just
But
can't admit it.
can't
You can't
be a
admit it.
part of it, though?
Yes, yes.
I mean, Eddie, like, I
I'm
believe
not
in law
bagging
of
on you.
attraction. No,
I'm not bagging on you.
but I'm trying to say, like, I believe in a law of attraction, law of abundance that fits into this realm, this very special place.
Yeah,
Sam,
so
if you don't believe in the spinning ball flying through an infinite universe, you're a flat earther, period. A true earther, right? We don't know exactly what it is, but it isn't a spinning ball flying through space. And that's what everyone's blindly arguing against. The people that argued against it can't even answer the simplest questions. And so you are way past that. You are a full-on true earther.
Okay, true earther. I like that. So the last time we were on,
I like that,
we were
true
all-
earther.
last time we were on, the guy sitting in this chair was Hibbler, the guy who put out that documentary level. So we were just in a fucking echo chamber here. There was really no debate at all. Everybody was pretty much pro flat earth.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of uneventful. So sitting to my right here is Frank, and on the Zoom is Matthew Berry on the right, and to the left of him is Carlos Machado, who's the brother of my master, Jean-Jacques Machado. He's a black belt legend from Brazil, jiu-jitsu fucking phenom. Now that's a student, Matthew. Now Matthew and Frank,
what's your last name?
Do I have to say that?
No,
he
you
doesn't
don't
wanna
have to.
say
You
it.
just want Frank?
Yeah, just Frank.
That's great. You're like the guy in every pro wrestling match that I know is going to get his ass kicked because he's like, hey!
You know what, dude? You remember Bill Burger? Bill Burger would come out and get fucking killed. You remember Bill Burger?
Yeah.
That was right on Bill Burger. And then there was those guys that would what was his name? B. Brian Blair.
Yeah.
There was the guys that went out and just got crushed. They were never in the match. And then there was B. Brian Blair level where they would fucking do some awesome shit, but they would always lose at the end.
Yeah.
They would never win.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I want these guys to know we were all in their shoes once. We were all fighting against this thing. It's the dumbest thing in the world. We refused to look at anything, stuck in our ways. And then we had to look. We had to dig in deep. And instead of just believing, we started knowing. And then you'll know. You don't live on a spinning ball.
Real quick, before we get into this,
let me
I'm not arguing anything. I don't have any.
It was just
real
funny. It was just funny.
Yeah,
That was
being
funny.
living in the round earth or flat.
I
But
like
I
that.
do want to say
I like that.
with when it comes to my last name, it has nothing to do with being tied to flat earth. It has everything tied to where we are now in our society. I don't want to,
dude.
you know what I mean?
I'm cool.
I don't want
even have to tell
out
me your
there.
real name.
Listen.
Actually, Frank's not even my real name.
Most of my best friends are not flat earthers.
Yeah.
So it's not like I just hang out with flat earthers.
Yeah. But I just wanted you to know I'm not so attached to the round. Or I think as scientists,
I like that.
one way
He's on
we
the
failed.
fence.
We're done here.
So now it's like all
We're gonna
dudes
get
versus one guy.
No. This is my
We got
point.
it.
Is that as scientists we have to be like 2-year-olds. We have to always ask why. But
like
nowadays we're so complacent. We've gotten to a point in science where we just say yes to someone else's data. So someone else
also,
they don't like
finish
it.
introducing these guys really quick.
Okay.
I never got done.
Okay,
I always digress. It's my fault. So Frank here and Matthew, we're on a chat on MySpace. We're the only guys on MySpace.
Yeah.
We're on a conspiracy chat on MySpace, and there's like 100 of us.
Yeah.
And we battle all the time. And I would say there's 15% are flat earthers and like 85% are round earthers.
Really, I thought it was the opposite.
No.
I feel like I'm always against 5-6 people.
It's the other way. It's 15% are team ball, and the other ones are
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Okay. Okay. So, but anyway,
That's how
anyways, Frank and Matthew are definitely the ones that come out and bomb on flat earth.
Yeah.
And they were bombing one day, and I thought, you know what? Instead of bombing on a MySpace chat, no one's even on MySpace anymore. Why not just bring it to Tinfoil Hat? So I asked them, I go, you guys want to do this debate on Tinfoil Hat? Because we need somebody to debate, because nobody wants to debate. I try to get people on. So Frank and Matthew agreed, and they're on the fence, really. They got open minds.
They're open-minded.
Yeah, because the fact that they're on that MySpace chat, it means a red pill.
Yeah.
So when you're red pilled, you're already on the doubting the mainstream version of science. Already, because we already see that science could be bought very easily.
Yeah.
A lot of agencies, the guys that are running or the mouthpieces for all these different government agencies, easily you could buy them.
We also, I mean, like when I meet somebody who's like in their late 40s or 50s, and they still like to determine who they're friends with based on politics. I go, you've lived no life if you still allow politics to decide who's your friend and who's not your friend, right? It's like you should have lived enough life to know that people could see stuff different, and that at the end of the day, whatever you believe about politics and whatever I believe isn't going to change anything. And like, I'm not here just to talk to people I agree with. I think that's a very boring thing, but how does that apply to science? Real quick, hold on. That applies that if you're in this game long enough and the game is life, you see where a science comes out, says one thing, and then 6 months later, they're like, oh, that wasn't true at all. Or you find out the person or the company funding that study wanted a certain outcome.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a few things at play. When you don't see people coming onto the show, I think it has a lot to do with people's fear of their reputation being blown, because we're so reputation based right now, right? That's why social media is so big. You post on Instagram, you've got this cool life, when in reality, you're probably broke or whatever.
Totally.
But
and now,
so
Frank,
I think for me, I don't care. And well, more than that, I trust Eddie enough and you guys that your whole aim isn't to put me on blast and my reputation. No. But these people that don't know, they're not in this MySpace group. They don't know what the fuck's happening.
Now, explain to people what you do. You work in science.
Yeah. So
you're a scientist, right?
Yeah. Well, I used to work in immunology, but now I'm on the business side. So my whole purpose now is I go out and I get my current pharma company to partner with other pharma companies.
So you work for a pharma company?
Yeah, to co-produce a new drug or to discover a new molecule, whatever it may be. Before I was actually on the lab bench, but I just want to preface that I'm not currently on the lab bench anymore. There's a lot more money to be made on the business side of things, obviously. I just got engaged, and I want to be able to provide certain things for my future family, which takes money. So being in
scientists don't make money?
No.
Really?
Yeah, we don't make anything.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
So you're a legit scientist?
What do you mean by legit?
Like you went to college, you got a science degree?
Yes. Molecular biology.
Molecular biology.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
From actually, maybe I shouldn't say that. Then you'll know exactly where I'm from.
We're just going to assume it's MIT.
Matthew, you guys, your mics.
Harvard.
Hey, Matthew, your mics are kind of like echoey.
You guys might have to lean into the computer to talk because it's picking up weird sound. Oh, there we go.
Okay, so Matthew's the other guy that wants to ask questions, and we can say he's going to debate flat Earth. What do you do for a living?
I own a body shop.
Okay.
I'm just a dumb mechanic.
But that's like a scientist, though. A mechanic is like a scientist, right?
Or an artist.
The science of cars. I mean, that's real. I believe in the science of cars. You know why? Because I see them driving around all the time. So is there science involved in building cars? Is there science involved in building cars?
Well, how things work.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
There's science involved.
There's no better example of a financial incentive to make something difficult than building a car.
Okay. I'm retarded, so I don't know what that meant, but I like it. I like it. Now,
I believe cars are specifically designed to make them difficult to fix on purpose.
Like a BMW, open the hood.
Exactly. That's science. So that's science. Right?
To make it, to keep the money in house, to make your life difficult.
So that is 100%
science.
No disrespect, what the medical community is about. Like, let's put everybody on a million drunk. Well,
like,
so
what do you mean by
I always tell
community?
people, go to your doctor and bring up homeopathic remedies and watch them have just showing sun to Dracula. They're like, right?
Now, well, do you incorporate scientists in on that? Because I think that's one of the biggest debates now with this COVID thing is you have got MDs and nurses trying to make scientific hypotheses or judgments off things that they don't actually do. So
I think that's done purposefully, and no disrespect, because I know you're a wonderful person, but the industry, I think, I think a big reason why they want to saddle our doctors with so much debt is to control their ability to maneuver, start their own practices, stuff. You got this debt. Like, hey man, we need our money back.
Yeah.
So now you gotta be like, and then you have this gorgeous pharmaceutical salesperson coming in. It's like, hey man, we got this new drug, and you're some guy who's got wild eyes because you're like, how am I gonna pay these bills, right? And now you got this girl. Hey man, you do this, we'll throw you this, this, and then it becomes this 100%. Kind of system.
And the same thing is said on the science side. So a lot of these immunologists out there with COVID, they're getting funding from either the government or Bill Gates or whoever. And so they're very uncomfortable coming out against that because they lose their funding.
Yes.
But they'll try to like slide of hand, like they'll say things like it's our best guess or whatever. But in reality, we've become very scared, and I think it's a symptom of our current society that we're not courageous anymore. We hate courage. We want to be victims. Everyone wants to be a victim, but if you want to stand your ground and be courageous, very shit on. And I think
there's not a lot of money in courage.
No, and that's the issue with scientists too. I mean, there are scientists coming out, and they have been since COVID even got released.
There's a comedian out there. I'm not going to say his name, but. Everyone's talking about brave this, brave that. And I always say nothing brave is ever done on a private jet making 20 mil of a check. Nothing like that is. It's what is acceptable by the status quo. When it comes to that stuff, you always hear this with conspiracy theorists, and we'll get back to flat earth. They're always like, how? Well, dude, somebody would know. Somebody would say something. No, not really, man. Like when your paycheck is associated with a certain thing, it's very scary to go, hey man, this is not right. And you see it happening in the medical community, people losing their medical license, or they got to walk away from their practices because they're just not comfortable with what this kind of psyop that's going on right now. Yes, there is a virus. I'm not saying there's no virus, but what's accompanying this thing is very questionable. And it's a couple brave people, and they lose everything. Everything. And it's like that is when everything is on the line, that's bravery.
Now, me, Matt, and Frank were on MySpace discussing this debate that we were going to do on your show, Matthew said, hey, Carlos Machado, your master's brother, who's also a master, he's into flat earth. I said, what? I said, Carlos Machado's a flat earther? Explain. Is Carlos Machado, can you explain how you got into flat earth?
Let me tell you this, all right? I'm a rebel without a cause. Let's put in perspective this, all right? When you seek the truth, not everybody is ready for it. Not everybody is ready to hear it. You understand? And we're so conditioned in a certain way. I use the jiu-jitsu mindset. I break things down. You understand? So when you give me information, I don't take it face value. I break it down, and I try to find the sources. The other thing, too, the average Joe nowadays can buy a good laser. They can have a good camera with zoom capabilities. And I'm sure David is going to kind of extrapolate on that. I like to use my imagination. I say, okay, instead of trying to prove somebody wrong, well, let's say the flat earther, let me see if I can disprove the flat earther. Okay? So you get into a conundrum where whichever side of the equation you are, you may have arguments that defend both positions, but you may not be in a position to disprove certain contentions that are quite valid when it comes down to what the average Joe can do today. I'm not a scientist. I don't have a scientific background. I do take jiu-jitsu in a scientific approach. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel if I want to leave an imprint here in what I do, I have to be very minute to the degree that I go to get as far as I can with the answers that I'm looking for. So if you present me a question as a student, if I don't have the answer, that's what motivates me. So when somebody tells me that the earth is flat, I'm going to say, how come? All right. And then I'm eager to see what David's going to say. I'm sure we're going to correlate. And I'd love to hear what Frank has to say. I'm in a position too, I agree to disagree. I'm not here to prove a point, nor to make a point. I like to use my imagination, Eddie. Eddie, you created the 10th planet, bro. Right? So you walked out of Jean-Jacques Matt, you said, you know what? I'm going to try to do this thing now, no gi all the way. And you came with a terminology that I've never heard before. You know what I'm saying? And so you kind of reinvented in your own way, a new way of looking at jiu-jitsu. Now, we are not reinventing science because electricity existed before Thomas Edison or Nikola Tesla came to play. They just revealed to us what was already laid out by nature. And I think right now, because it's easier for us to make our own diligence, and this is a problem that I have, we're raised without critical thinking. You go to college nowadays, and how many of us, go to college and then realize, I wish I didn't, because all the crap that I learned there I can all use in real life. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I make a point where look, there's a political side to this because I represent a lot of people. If I was to voice everything that I really know, half of the people would be happy with what I'm saying, the other half wouldn't. So I understand where Frank comes from in the sense that there's an image that are perceived of all of us as a persona. And we're trying to walk on eggshells because, God forbid, you say something without paying attention. And nowadays, you can get crucified by it, by making a wrong punctuation on something. So with that said, I just want to throw out there, I'm going for a no holds bar with you guys. And I'm not gonna be in a position to defend anybody. If I hear something I don't agree, I might just throw right back at you.
Let me throw something in.
I'm all about
Here comes
that.
Dave. Here comes
Hold on. So as we go through this today, very simple. We're going to throw things into 3 baskets. Only works on a flat earth, works on a flat earth and a ball earth, and only works on a ball earth. And what you're going to find, there's lots of things that we don't know. Flat earthers know that they don't know. Ballers think they know everything. They have no idea that they don't know because they've just been brainwashed. And you're going to notice by the time we get to the end of this, nothing will go into that 3rd basket. Because if something goes in there, I lose 2 Bitcoins.
So the other thing too, Dave, just to complement that, I don't want to take too much of anybody's time, is the question that we have. There are two variables here. One, what difference would that make in my life, whether the globe is round or the globe is flat? I believe that we all individually, we have a responsibility to become a better version of ourselves, regardless of any knowledge that we can gain from it. But if you can find the truth on something like it, it's a red pill that is going to give you probably more ammunition to find answers in many other things. And it's not that you have to be a conspiracy theorist or try to find all the answers to everything. But I think that when you go for a fight, you have to know your enemy. You have to know who you're dealing with. And people that suppress information, whether in science, you want to know one of the most suppressed areas of human history, archaeology.
Absolutely.
We don't know about our past because, God forbid, they really tell what they really find in those excavations. But that's another story, maybe for another day. I'm just throwing that at you guys. I'm ready for the volatility.
Carlos, let me ask you a question. When you go into a fight, if you think you're spinning and swirling and corkscrewing through an infinite space vacuum, how well are you going to do? Wouldn't you do a lot better if you knew that you were in the center of on a solid foundation, not spinning out of control, not lost, not insignificant? You take your power back when you understand that you don't live on a spinning space rock.
Well, what it does, and I'm not going to get on either side, but I don't know if that if jujitsu matters if you're on a ball or anything. I know with a gun it is, but what I'm trying to say is, it's like when you know the truth, that sets you free. Okay, because then you go, what else are they lying to me about?
But Sam, what the question asked was, how would it affect you if you were living on a flat Earth or a round Earth? And my question is, if this was all a lie, which I'm open to believe because they lie a lot, what is the point? What do they gain in the end? Is there money? Is there something?
Listen, hold on. Money is an illusion. Let's answer that at the end. Let's go through some of the stuff. And then before I sign off, I'll tell you why the lie, because why the lie is the most important thing. Does the shape of the earth matter? Absolutely not. It's the lie that matters. And you'll understand by the time we're done why the lie. The lie is the most important thing, that the elite have to keep control over us.
Dave, while you're at it, do you mind explaining what you're showing behind you?
Yeah, so what this is just an idea of what the flat earth is. Most people think that the flat, they laugh at flat earth. One, they have no idea that they're spinning in their world. They're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting at Mach 90, chasing the sun over 500,000 miles an hour while that thing's moving sideways. They also think that the flat earth is a disk floating in space with other heliocentric balls or even other flat disks. No flat earther believes that. And the reason they believe that is because they've Googled it. Again, we do some research. Google. Well, Google's going to deliver you nonsense. When you Google flat earth, you might as well just realize you'll never be a flat earther because it's garbage, right? So we don't believe that. So we believe that the earth is is the basement of the universe. That's the best way I have to describe it.
Wait, we live on this. That other thing was that.
Hold on, I'll get back to it.
That's not true. That image.
No. This is the general idea of what flat earth is. The earth is an extended plane. We live in a pond. within that plane, right? The side of a pond, a lake, it needs a container, because if you don't have the edge of a container, water just goes away. If you have a bathtub and the bathtub disappears, the water's gone. If you have a lake and the sides of the lake disappear, the water's gone. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth. It's the land that surrounds our world ocean, okay? These are all of the islands, all the continents are all surrounded by water, but the water is surrounded by its container. That container is Antarctica. Antarctica, we don't know how big it is because it's off limits. You can't explore Antarctica. Even if they let you, how are you going to? Compasses don't work. GPS doesn't work. It's friggin' cold and dark out there. So,
but the other image had two suns. That's what I was.
No, it didn't. It had a sun and a moon. It had a sun and a moon.
Go back to the other.
Two suns are on the table, though. Two suns is on the table.
Yeah, like so one is the sun that's on the top right now.
One is the moon.
Yeah.
Another one is the moon.
Yeah. And right, they just happen to be this. They don't always stay like this. They let me show you. Let me share my screen real quick.
Yeah, I like to go in deeper on this because it's a good animation.
Real quick. The one thing that we know for sure is there's a lot of things we don't know for sure because scientists have figured it out, but the peasants, we have no idea. So it's stuff we have to take scientists' word for. Like there's so many things. Like when they say they discovered 7 planets 20 light years away, we have no way to verify that.
Yeah, sure.
We have to take people's scientists and government scientists' word for it.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuff, we don't believe hold on, let me finish.
Yep.
We don't believe anything. I don't, like me and Dick, we don't anything coming from mainstream science that we can't prove for ourselves. We don't know. We don't know.
It could be that to prove the Earth's round, though.
No. Hold on. Let me finish. So what do we know? What do we know for sure that we don't need a scientist approval? What do we know? We know that there is scientifically. We know that there's some kind of magnetic force in North Pole, right? That's how compasses work. Everybody agrees on that. Everybody agrees on that. Nobody's going to disagree with that. That's what we know. That's for sure. Something in the North Pole, there's some kind of magnetic force. If there wasn't a magnetic force there, we wouldn't be able to travel in the ocean. We need those compasses. For some reason, it points to the fucking north. That means there's a magnetic force to the north. Everybody agrees with that. It's all right. I don't need a scientist to tell me that. I know that for a fact. You know it for a fact. Another thing we know for a fact is Polaris is the North Star that doesn't move. And it's right above the North Pole. Mm. And I don't need a scientist to tell me that because I've seen many, many videos. Can you put a video up of the stars going around the North Pole? Can you do that? So if you look at time-elapsed photography, let me finish. Time-elapsed photography. I'm going over stuff we don't need scientists for. We know that Polaris is right above the North Pole where all that magnetic energy is. There's some magnetic energy, some fucking force in the North Pole. And Polaris is right above it. And all the stars go. If you look at time-elapsed photography, if you haven't, well, there's literally 5,000 videos on YouTube where you could see the stars going around.
What direction?
I don't know. Clockwise, counterclockwise, doesn't matter.
Well, you have photos of both. That's my point.
Okay. What is it? Clockwise or non-clockwise?
Why can't the southern hemisphere see Polaris? Though people in the southern hemisphere can't even see Polaris.
Yeah,
let me explain that. It's very, very simple. Imagine.
But hold on. Before you do that, let me just finish. We know that the Polaris is above the North Pole. We know that. If you can't see it from the south, whatever, we could see it. We could see it from here. Okay, so it doesn't matter what I'm talking about. So we know there's a magnetic force in the north. We know that Polaris coincidentally is right over this fucking magnetic force. Coincidentally, and it doesn't move. And all the stars go around it. Who cares what happens in the south? We're talking about the north. So what we know is in the North Pole, there's a magnetic force that it's with Polaris right over and everything goes. So there's all these stars going around the North Pole. And coincidentally, that's what the sun and the moon are doing. They're going around the fucking North Pole. So whatever force it is that a compass is pointing to, in my opinion, based on that, is the same force that's connected to the sun and the moon and all the stars, because you could see them, and they're going around this magnetic force. Everything goes around this magnetic force. David Weiss.
Hold on. Johnny, ask your question again, and then David's going to answer it. Then I got a question.
Wait, we didn't even go back to that dome that he was showing. Were the sun and the moon in the dome
when you
or
go
out
back,
of the
so
dome?
when you go back to the image he had, now go back to the sun and the moon going around.
Yeah, like this one.
So
is that a dome on the outside?
So check this out. So check this out. No,
is it? I don't know.
He's really new to this on firmament.
So check this out. So based on what I said, if this map is correct, the North Pole is in the center.
Sure, yeah.
North Pole, and the sun and the moon are going around the North Pole.
Are they in or out of the dome?
In the dome.
They're in the dome.
In
the firmament.
So both are inside of this dome.
Who knows?
NASA has actually come out and said the moon is in our atmosphere.
Yeah, so that's official from last year. That's official.
I don't believe anything NASA says, but
that's pretty.
Even that is
we don't
crazy.
need science to. But I guess my question with that is that if you're in Chile and you FaceTime someone in Alaska at a certain time of year, they're going to be in darkness. But with this here, they would both be in the sunlight.
No.
So my question to you is, how would that work?
Incorrect.
Because you've got
I
the
mean,
moon
look
and
at
the
it. Do you
sun.
see? So here's the thing: you have to understand what perspective is, and you have to understand how we don't have a distant 93 million mile away sun. The sun that we see is close. We don't know how close it is. Is it 3,000 miles or 300 miles or 30 miles? I couldn't tell you because I don't believe that the sun is a physical object. Again, I hate looking up at the sky to figure out what's below my feet. I hate looking at the lights in my ceiling to determine the shape of my floor. But let's talk about why you can't see Polaris, which was the first question you asked, in the south. For one, there was an observatory in South America, 30 degrees south, that reportedly saw Polaris a whole bunch of times. And scientists were like, well, you can't do that because it would be well below the curve. And then they said, well, it's refraction. It's nonsense. It's just they had a clear day and they could see it. Imagine you're in a room, recessed lights. Those are the stars. Okay. 10-foot high ceiling. Now expand that room to 10 miles wide, 10 miles. Okay. I'm standing near the center or wherever, and I send somebody 5-8 miles away from me. Okay. In a 10-foot high ceiling, in just a mile, you can't see. The ceiling and the floor merge in less than a mile. You look down a long Vegas hallway, the ceiling almost touches the floor. So at the same time, I can't see you. When you look up, you see different stars. When I look up, I see different stars, right? You can't see them, and it's all due to perspective. That's how we see the sun and the moon. Let me walk through this video right here. So these lights are all the same height. You know it. They're just going away, and they get lower due to perspective. So here's how we see the sunset. When you look up, there's your line of sight to a cloud. Imagine there's a whole cloud deck. Right? When I look across Long Island Sound, New York City's 25 miles away, the clouds are literally touching the water. They literally merge with the horizon at just 25 miles. So here are all the clouds merging with the horizon. So now this guy is going to look at that distant cloud. And if you drew a line from his eye to that cloud, it would be parallel. He would see it parallel over the water. But is that line really parallel over the water? Okay. He sees it that way. That's his reality. But what if somebody was standing underneath that cloud and could look at that and see that line? What would they see? They would see the line sloping down from the sky to his eye. They would see the opposite of what he sees. Hold on. Here it comes. So the guy under the cloud, he sees the line sloping down. Okay. So that's what's really going on. So this becomes this guy's horizon line, sloping up into the air. Well, horizons are always down level, but remember, he saw it level. So if you extend that line, here's the cloud, we extend it all the way up, and that becomes his horizon line. But for him, that horizon line's on the ground. So when the sun just travels away, whenever it crosses this line, it will disappear because it's blocked by all of that atmosphere. I call it atmospheric blocking. Even on a clear day, the atmosphere becomes opaque, and I can prove that. Okay, so this is what's really happening. But what this guy perceives is what his perception, what perspective is showing him. Almost done, and then you could ask anything you want. So I'm just going to show you real quick. So his point of view sees it like this. So he sees the sun appear to go down and set behind an imaginary horizon. It's an apparent horizon. That's what he sees.
And this is true on land or water.
This is true everywhere.
It's like go back to the street side, the street lights. Go back to the street lights. Go back to the street lights.
But those
The
are in fog.
Okay, no. So we know. No. Look at the streetlights. Do you see how that second one and the third one look lower than the first one?
I don't know.
No. Go back to the streetlights, please. Just go back to the streetlights.
Going down.
Just stay right there. Can you
I can't
pause?
stop it. I can't stop. I just keep repeating.
Okay.
It.
You see how this there's the first one,
Yeah.
and the second one and the third one. The second one, third one, it constantly gets lower.
Yeah.
Is that due to the curve of the Earth or perspective?
Well, it's both. I mean,
No.
It's not.
No. Is it? You think it's already curving? The reason it looks
no, it's not because it's too
perspective.
short of a distance. Yeah.
Exactly.
But it doesn't mean that it's not.
No.
No.
It doesn't mean that.
Hold on,
It doesn't. But it does prove perspective. It doesn't prove that there's no curve. It doesn't prove that there's no curve.
Is anyone arguing that there's no perspective?
No.
Yes, some are.
That's the whole argument.
What's the argument on perspective?
No. Listen, let me finish. The second and third one and beyond, fifth one, sixth, all of them are slightly, they appear to be shorter, but they're not shorter.
No, yeah.
Perspective is
Hold on.
that it's
Hold
going
on.
over the horizon.
No. That's not what I'm talking about.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't know.
Hold on. No. The second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, each one looks shorter. It looks shorter than the first one.
Right.
Is it shorter?
No.
Okay.
Of course not. It's perspective,
Hold on,
right?
Carlos?
I agree.
Okay. So what we're seeing is in that short space, every light looks shorter than the other one. And then after like 20 lights, it goes to eye level and then it disappears into the horizon. That's exactly what the sun's doing.
Oh, okay. That's where it is. You're comparing.
And also, wait, Carlos, go for your question, and then I'll add on. Go ahead, Carlos.
Hold on, Carlos.
It's not low. The sun ain't setting.
Let me
It's
throw
going
it there.
away.
He's got
It's going
that.
away.
He said that, Carlos.
All right, let me throw it there, Dave. That's the first thing that I stumbled across because I know the curvature. If the 25,000 sphere that supposedly is our planet, it has to follow a curvature pattern. And upon what I read, engineers that build railroads, bridges, tunnels, and so on, or pilots that drive planes, they never discount what the curvature. I mean, they have their route, and I haven't heard of any of them try to make provisions. Oh, I have to go down a little bit. And in the example of the Bedford experiment, and then I would like to hear your word on it. It was a 6-mile stretch on a channel, on a canal. And you were supposed to be, if the curvature existed the way they say, the point of vision would be 16 feet below the perspective of the person watching this little boat, sailing all the way to the end. And I think this could be a good one for us to throw at Frank in a respectful way for us to start kind of dissecting this thing here. What do you have to say about the curvature if this really exists?
This is normal. No, Carlos, I guess the first part of your question I'm a little confused on. I didn't catch all of it, but the second one, I've noticed these photos a lot, but they're always over water, and water is going to be a little bit.
I think I know what he's saying. How come we haven't heard of if there is and if I'm wrong, Carlos, please correct me. But if there is a curve, pilots should have to take account for the curve when they fly.
Or they go right into the space.
Right? I mean,
right into space.
I see
there would be.
I want to
like,
answer Carlos's question. Let me answer Carlos's question. Carlos,
Hold on, Dave, real quick. Hold on, real quick. The reason why it's done over water is because water don't lie. If you the refraction, he's going to explain refraction, but
Explain mermaids.
But on land, it's hard to factor in curve because there's mountains and valleys. So at land, like you got to throw the curvature out the window. But water, and most of the planet is water. That's where you test the curve is on water. Go ahead, Dave.
Sure. I guess so the question. I mean, we're still on that first one with the sun. When you look on, if you lay down flat on your back and you have someone just holding a plate, even a small plate, and if they circulate that plate around your head at certain angles, it's not going to be circular anymore. It's going to be
I
more
100% agree.
So how is it that it's always circular, especially for the moon? The sun may be different, it's hard to look at, but the moon is always circular. And then just real quick, Dave, the other point along the moon, because I'll just get it all in one for you. When we look at it from the North America or Europe or whatever, we're seeing the same moon. Everyone sees the same face. It's not different. Now in Australia, they see that a little bit flipped because they're coming from the bottom of, let's say, this round Earth.
You've put like 5 questions out already, just one at a time. So let me. I'm going to go backwards. If right now in your room somebody put a 6 on the ceiling and you stood on one end of the room and looked at that 6, what's the person on the other side of the room going to see? A 6 or a 9? Does that mean that their room is a sphere and the other person's upside down? Absolutely not. So there goes that complete argument. That's why Australia sees the moon upside down. They see the moon upside down because they're on the other side of the room, period. That's the end of it. Okay.
Why do the toilets flush different?
They don't. It's a myth. And I have toilets in my house that go in opposite directions. It's just the way the water goes into the bowl.
Total myth.
No, I don't understand your answer. Makes sense. I guess maybe I didn't explain it well. The moon, no matter where you look at it, you could be in Tokyo.
It looks like a sphere, right?
No, it looks like a sphere, but you're seeing the same face, is what I'm saying. The same face. But when you're in the southern hemisphere, you see a different side of that same space. You see it twisted. So my point is, if you're in America, San Diego, and you're looking at it in Tokyo, you're all seeing the same ball, but from different faces.
You're
right?
seeing the exact same face of the moon, just at different. It's spun in different directions. Because just put a clock on the ceiling, and then everybody stand in a different place in the room, and everybody will have the bottom of that clock and the top of that clock at a different rotation. It just has to.
So are you saying the moon is flat? Is that?
So let me ask a question: are these spheres?
What is that? I don't know what that is.
This is the moon. Is this one a sphere? Before she picks it up, is that a sphere?
I mean, from this perspective, it looks like
absolutely. This is my point. It's not a sphere. It's flat. Okay. So my point is, you don't know what shape the moon is. My point is this a sphere?
Yeah, but this is a little bit insidious, right? Because that second Earth, it's shaded to look like a sphere.
What I'm saying is, I have 2 points here. One, who the hell cares what shape the moon is? And 2, you don't know what shape the moon is, right? Because the moon does not act like, hold on. The moon does not act like a sphere. A sphere lit up by a single source light has a hot spot and then it fades to the edge. But when we see a full moon, it's lit up edge to edge. Okay. It's the same brightness from edge to edge.
Why is the shadow singular? Why is the shadow?
It's shadow. Exactly what Matt's saying. Exactly.
Well, is it a shadow? How do you know it's a shadow? How do you know the moon just isn't powering up and powering down?
I don't know. What do you mean by powering up and powering
down? Again, the moon, I'll admit it, the moon is the biggest mystery of all, but it's not a spinning rock that just spins perfectly so it faces the spin. It does spin.
No, round Earth period. You don't say that the moon spins. It actually doesn't spin at all. It does spin on its own.
It spins at 10 miles. It spins over 10 miles an hour.
No, it's rotating around the Earth, but it's not spinning within itself.
It has to spin within itself.
No, it doesn't. So that's why we're
otherwise it would have different sides would face the Earth. Go look up mainstream science. The Earth, the moon is spinning. No one's arguing that. No one's arguing that except you. Right?
No. Everyone, if you take any layman scientist, I'm not even a astrophysicist or any of these people, but I can tell you just by simply camping, if you go out camping in San Diego or in Tokyo, you're going to see the same exact face of that moon.
100%, I agree.
Camping in Australia, when I played rugby in Australia and I looked up, guess what? That same face was a little bit different. It was the same face, but different. So
it was rotating.
Why is the face the same if it's flat? Okay. If it's the same face from every perspective on this flat Earth, and if it was a ball, you would think you would be seeing different faces.
Right. Because it's not a ball. It's not a ball.
You're asking your own question.
So let me. Here's the thing.
If it was a ball, you would be seeing different faces.
This is one of those things that's not going to be answered.
If it was a ball, it would be you would see a different face. It's the exact same face. It's like the exact same face.
I don't know what you're understanding.
What he's saying is, you guys are trying to say it's flat, a clock, and he's saying that if you're in Australia, you don't see 1 to 12, you see 13. You see like a different segment of the moon is what he's saying. He's not saying
you're seeing the same thing. It's just upside down. He's saying if it's a ball, you would see the slightly different side of the ball, and I totally agree with him. I'm with you on that.
That is what we see. So my point is that if it was flat, and you're looking at that same flat.
It's not
flat. The moon or the Earth?
He's saying the moon is flat.
I'm not saying that at all.
You're saying we don't know what the moon is.
He doesn't know what it is.
We don't know what it is.
We don't know what it is.
He doesn't know what it is.
So my question then,
probably
from a flat perspective, is that if you're looking at a ball, let's just assume the moon is a ball. Let's just assume it. If you're looking at a ball and you're looking at it from Tokyo and you're looking at it from San Diego, you're going to see the same face, because that's what everyone in the northern hemisphere is going to see. Now, just bear with me. I know this is.
You'd see the backside of the ball, though. Wouldn't you see the backside of the ball?
Same thing. And then on the southern hemisphere, let's just assume this is a round Earth, you would see this same image, but at a different angle, but the same image. That's what we see. You can
okay. So let me answer it without being interrupted. Let me answer it first.
Dave gets feisty a little
I do. I'm just trying to get the information out. Listen. So on a flat Earth, if you stuck a basketball to the ceiling and you wrote numbers on it, whatever, put arrows on it, one person on the north side of the room, one person on the south side of the room, they'd see it in a different rotation. I got it. But you're saying, hey, if it's a ball, they kind of see this side of it, and then they'd see this side of it, and you wouldn't see the exact same face. I agree with that. Okay. But I don't believe that this.
Stop, Dave. What are you? So using his basketball analogy, what are you saying?
I'm about to tell you.
Come on, Dave. Let him.
Let's take that basketball analogy. On one side of the basketball, you'll see Spalding.
Yeah, right.
Everyone sees that.
And the other side, you'll see NBA.
Right.
Right.
So if you're looking at a round ball in the air,
right,
looking at it from Tokyo or San Diego,
yeah,
everyone is going to see the Spalding sign at the same. They'll all see it the same way.
Okay.
Right.
If you're on the southern hemisphere, right?
Yeah.
And and you're now looking at the moon, it's going to be a different angle of that same.
You're going to say like 35 pounds of pressure. You're going to see.
No, you'll see Spalding, but at a different angle.
You're going to see a little more. I got it.
The other side.
No, that's not what it is.
Listen, you said it 10 times. I get it. Listen, I'll explain it.
No, you won't see it with a round moon. Go, Weiss, go.
Weiss.
The sun and the moon that we see, there's no proof that they're physical objects. There's a scientist in the late 50s that was talking about the moon being plasma. It's more of a projection or a reflection. And the way what's that?
The video of that scientist?
I don't have the video of him handy, but it's in the app under it's under NASA. It's under, I forget what it's under. But so what are we seeing? So when you drive down the road, it looks like the moon is following you. As a kid, you're like, hey, the moon's following me. And it is, because you see it in a position relative to yourself. Like if we were standing on the beach and watching the sunset or the moonset over the water, you'd see it walking on the water, a line walking on the water right to your feet. And the other person would see it going to their feet, and neither of you could see each other's position. If you and I were 50 feet apart and we're looking at a giant mirror and the sun or the moon is setting behind us, I could see the moon in the reflection, and I could have someone go up and draw a circle around the moon with a Sharpie. There it is. Then they walk 50 feet over to you. They're going to draw a circle 50 feet in another position. So the optics of what we're seeing in the sky they're insane. But this is what happens. I believe, and there's so much evidence for it, that we all see what I call in our personal atmospheric dome. So each viewer is in the center of their atmospheric dome. And the atmospheric dome is a real thing because you can only see so far through the atmosphere. Right. So as this point light outside of the dome moves, you can see this little intersection in each one of these. That's where you would see the sun and the moon manifest. Right. So it's noon right here. It's like 1 o'clock here, 2:30 maybe. Here it's early in the morning, California, East Coast, California. So as it moves, here are the time zones. Here's how you see it, and it's being projected into our view, if you will. So you can do a little experiment with what's that?
This dome is like what's in your eye. Is that what you're saying?
No. This is the atmosphere becomes opaque at a distance, and the projection of the sun and the moon, I believe, we see it in manifesting in there. And then during eclipses, we can actually see a lot more evidence of this. And I don't know if we have time to get into that. Go ahead.
You got a question,
Matthew?
If the atmosphere, if you're saying the sun is disappearing when the sun's setting, because the atmosphere is opaque, correct? So it would fade away gradually instead of.
Very good question. Glad you asked. Thank you. My favorite question of all time. I appreciate it, because here we go. So when you're looking into the distance, all of the atmosphere compresses and it becomes opaque. And on a cloudy day, those clouds literally become opaque, and the sun just goes beyond it and it sets just like that, because this opaque line.
Gradually.
No, hold on. I'm going to explain it. So it will set due to perspective just like that most days, right? Whenever you're from the ground, the atmosphere is so thick, it always happens, but it's different on every day. But if you go, I filmed this a whole bunch of times. I have my drone, super clear day, 32 degrees or colder, no humidity in the air, super clear. And I watched the sun and it went down, 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 down. Now, if the earth was spinning, it would just keep on going all the way down, but it didn't. It went in 5 minutes time. It went from way up here to right here above this apparent horizon. And then it sat here for 10 minutes. This is sped up 2,500%, I think. It sped up and it never went below it. It just disappeared into the perfectly clear sky. I'll show it again right here. Okay. It didn't drop. It sat there for 10 minutes. But my friends at the beach saw the sunset from the bottom up 10 minutes earlier. Okay. It just sat there and faded away.
1,000 times in Pacific Beach, right there in San Diego, I watch the sun dip below the horizon and go away.
And that's because you're not, because one, it can't be above water because there's too much moisture. It has to be super freezing and you have to be at altitude to see it. But when you think you see the sun disappearing, oops, wrong video. When you think you see the sun disappearing, it looks like it's going below the horizon, but it's really just going beyond that cloud deck. This sun looks like it's about to set, but if we zoom in on it, you'll see that it's not even near.
It's not getting smaller.
It is. Well, hold on. One question at a time. It's not setting. I'm expanding I'm zooming in. I'm expanding the space. It's just going away. Now, under certain conditions, like super dry, elevated area. This is in Afghanistan. This is another super sped up time lapse
here.
What's Macca doing there? What's Paul McCartney doing?
He's singing there because the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world spinning round, right? This sun is clearly just going away, right? It's clearly just going away. Let me show you one more thing on perspective, and then I'll show you.
I've never seen a sunset that looks like that in my entire
You've never
life.
seen it because you're watching it over water. How many sunsets have you watched from elevation on a super clear day with zero humidity looking over land?
A bunch of them in Colorado.
Oh, well, no, Colorado, you're looking out over the water.
I mean,
I'm looking out over a mountain.
Well, it goes beyond. Right.
Where's the water in Colorado?
It's landlocked. The sun just goes away.
He's just showing you video right now. He's showing you video, and you're talking about, oh, I remember the sun going down when you weren't analyzing it. You weren't paying attention. You're analyzing, and you're using that as scientific evidence. He's got video, and he's analyzing it. And you're going, oh, I remember the sun going down.
Carlos?
So, Dave, go back to the curvature once you get done with that, because if you work with the optics of having binoculars or telescopes and use a ship on the ocean and a stretch of miles away, you shouldn't be able to see you lose perspective using your eyes, but you can still see it. If you use any aid like a binocular. So and we got to go back to the curvature, because that, I think, is going to make things easier to elaborate on everything else.
I think this is the most interesting part.
Because this proof right here, the top scientists in the world still today, when they're asked about flat Earth, the highest level still use this example. It's hysterical because this is the easiest one to prove, easiest ones to debunk. The top scientists go, just look at a ship, just go in the ocean or go to the beach, look at it, and then look at the ship disappear from the bottom up. That's proof right there. It's going over the curve. It's going over the curve. They still say that.
I think we need to go back because we didn't actually solidify. So I understand the moon is gaseous, or it's not a physical body. But
do you? I don't understand that.
I thought you said that.
I said that's what I believe. Nobody knows. The moon is the biggest mystery, right? Looking at the moon isn't how you're going to prove where the Earth is flat. So I'd love to get off of that, but if you want to stay there, I'm happy to.
But that's curious to me, because the moon, it has a lot to do with how we, as even ancient people, referenced how we even like predict lunar eclipses, different rotational things, even like the wave and how high waves are for surfing. So I think the moon is very important, and it's curious to have a lot of critiques on the round Earth, but there's no follow up from the flat Earth perspective. I think as flat earthers, even if I say we should develop some sort of theory to combat these ideas. One of which is it does your answer with, even if you believe that it's a gaseous form or if it's not a physical form, it does not explain why people in Australia are seeing it at a different angle. Because
I just explained it.
No,
I totally explained it. Look, two of you go on the opposite end of the rooms, and draw a smiley face. And one of you is going to see a frowning face. The other one's going to see a smiling face. The room is flat. The ceiling is flat. Okay, you're looking at it from opposite sides. That's all. You've just been so, by the way, I'm not picking on you, but you've been so brainwashed about the standing upside down and seeing the moon upside down that no matter what I say, you can't see it. People,
David Weiss, listen to this scientist. Turn it up. Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. Can we have volume and start it over?
Why don't we just put up a video of the moon from Australia versus
listen to this guy. Listen. Can you start it over, please?
Yes.
Who is this guy?
You see, here is the sea, Mr. Sanders, so calm and apparently unchanging. And yet it is part of my new conception about the nature of the world. At this same sea, many times in the past history of our Earth has rolled over the surfaces of the land masses.
Man, this is 9 minutes. So can you speed it up? We're going to find the piece. Can you speed it up? I thought I had it.
What am I looking for?
We're looking for him talking about the moon as plasma.
No, it's coming up right now.
Oh, it is? Okay, go back. Go back.
At this
theory of the flood and the theory of people of other races.
Oh, yes, this actual event, the last one, is recorded in all the sacred scriptures of all the old civilizations, from the Hindus to the Bible.
Mr. Foster, before we go on with that, you've made a number of predictions, scientific predictions you claim have come true. Now, what are those predictions and how do you make this claim?
Well, they're all based on the new notion that the physical invariance principles of contemporary science are invalid. And I stated this first in a manuscript reviewed in Australia in 1954. And the validity of this statement was confirmed finally last year at Princeton when the principle of time reversal invariance was found to be invalid.
Well, who accepts the fact that you have made these predictions accurately?
Well, the facts as such are undeniable and must be accepted because they're documented. And it was accepted as such at Oxford, at the Indian University, and also at the National University. The facts as such are accepted, but the explanations and the new views as yet are not.
Do you mean to say that you reject all the basic principles of science established since Aristotle's day?
No, it does not mean that. I state and maintain that those concepts and interpretations of science, which are still based today on Aristotelian logic, have a certain purpose, but that is defined by a statement as that a spade is a spade or a fine chisel is a fine chisel.
It might be farther forward.
That's okay. We can watch this. It's a good setup. Let's just watch.
How is it possible, Mr. Foster, that you as an individual can work out these theories when all the other established scientists have computers and all the money of governments behind them, and yet they apparently can't?
Well, I do not claim at all that it is due to my own intellect or to my own penetration. I have been deeply interested from early youth in the real nature of the world, and I held my own views and ideas. But many years ago, about 14 years ago, when I was challenging one of the fundamental conventional principles of science, I had a definite inspiration, not knowledge as such, but an indication and a guidance which I followed and which I worked very hard to evolve into a new structure of understanding.
Inspirations are related to thoughts of genius. Do you think or consider yourself to be a genius?
No. I consider myself to be an ordinary, humble person who wants to serve mankind with what man has striven for from the beginning of consciousness, with truth and understanding of the world.
Well, now, one thing, you have a theory about the moon, and we expect to be able to get observable facts about the moon fairly soon. What is your theory?
Well, it is by now rather more than a theory. 10 or 11 years ago, I stated to various scientists that the moon is not a piece of rock, but it is a plasma phenomenon, a cosmic plasma, and that this fact will eventually be confirmed. I made certain predictions which were already confirmed in 1958, and the situation now is coming close to a complete confirmation.
What will be the result if you're proved to be correct in your theories?
The result will be profound and decisive because it will give proof that a complete reinvestigation of the laws of nature is necessary. Because if the moon is a plasma, no man will ever land on it. The soft landing attempts will all fail. That means that the mass of the moon is less, far less than is currently assumed. It's in a different state of energy, and it has far less mass. That means there is no more explanation for the tides. If the moon, for example, had only 1,000th part of its current mass, then the tides would only be 2 inches high under conventional theories instead of sometimes 14 feet. And that means that if it is proved that the moon is a plasma, then all gravitational theories are out, and the new concept of the cosmos and of its laws has to be evolved.
That's it, right there. Boom.
I don't understand what he means by plasma. Can we pause this? Because
well, not anymore. 11 years ago.
He's saying
can we pause it and let Dave answer that?
He's saying it's cosmic plasma.
That's what he thinks it is.
That's what this guy thinks it is.
Who knows what it is? But it's a mystery, is what.
Yeah, we could spend the entire show talking about the moon. Again, we don't know what the moon is.
Did you get that image that I sent you? Do you mind putting that up as an example?
Accumulated evidence is already so much.
Do you believe we landed on the moon?
Stop it, Johnny.
Take this out. I mean, I don't think that. I think that is. I think that landing on the moon is an easy discussion, and you could probably prove that we didn't. To be completely honest with you, but that does not mean that the Earth is not round. So going back to this right here, you were talking about perspective earlier with the lights. This is what I meant by the moon and perspective. If you're on that top person and you're looking at the moon, right? The planet is rotating. So you're seeing that same image wherever you are on that top. If you're on the bottom, you're seeing that same bottom image.
But just reverse.
Sure.
Exactly. That's what he explained.
I know, but with a flat Earth, the moon is rotating in a circular around the flat Earth. So you would be seeing different things at different angles. Also, by the way, going back to your Polaris
just like
thing,
we
Polaris
do.
Does
just like we do.
No, it isn't like we do. This is how we see it. We see it just like this. If you're in North America, you see the moon just like it's depicted right there. In the Southern Hemisphere, you see it just like this every night, every single day. Unless it's waning.
So hang on a second. Can you pull that picture back up? Right?
Still there. Still there.
So hold on. So listen. Just look at the picture. Now take that curved Earth between the both guys' feet and just flatten it.
Yeah.
We're both gonna see the same moon the same way. Just flatten
what I'm saying in the flat Earth model, I understand that the moon can still be round in the flat Earth model. I'm saying how it rotates around the flat Earth. You're going to see a different face.
No.
Yes, you are. Because the planet itself is rotating. So you're going to see a different.
Upside down proves the globe model.
Yeah, but
exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
In their.
I'm just showing that this is an Earth, but look, ready? Everyone see Africa.
The moon
I'm rotating around the Earth. You're still seeing the same face.
Wait up. We don't see what you're seeing.
Can you put him back up?
We're seeing just like an image.
Hold on, just a second. I gotta bring him back.
How do you see the moon upside down on the flat Earth model? That's what we want to know, because we know you will see it upside down if you're in Australia versus North America.
Same thing.
Okay, ready? I'm looking at the United States, right, which is right here. I see the top of the United States right here and the bottom of the United States right here. What are you guys seeing? You're seeing the bottom here and the top here. It's upside down just because we're looking across. Put a map of the room on the ceiling. Opposite sides of the room, you're going to see it at different sides.
That's not what we're saying, though. David, put that planet right in front of you again. Do that same example you did. Now rotate it in a circle. Just move your arm in like a circle like this. Just move it like that. Yep, just like that. Everyone, if you had an angle off your shoulder, off your elbow, off your forehead, would be seeing different faces.
You're talking about little different parts, right? I agree with you.
No, on your body. I'm saying
when you're looking at a TV from different angles, the person's face, if they're looking at you on both sides of the room. It doesn't matter. It's a projection into our Earth reality. However it is, it doesn't prove the shape of the Earth. Let's prove the shape of the Earth. Let's prove that we're not a spinning ball.
Can you agree the moon is round and it's a globe?
No, I can't. I don't know what it is. I can't prove it. I don't think it's a sphere. It doesn't act like a sphere.
That's the problem we have. If it was flat, it wouldn't look round from all different angles.
I agree. I don't believe it. I don't believe that it's flat. I believe that it is not a physical object. All right. Because here's one thing. When there's a new moon, okay, when there's a new moon means there's no light on the moon. when it goes new, no one has ever seen it. Not from the International Fake Station, not for the telescope, no infrared. No one's ever seen it for almost 2 full days. 42 hours, I think, is the shortest time that it ever showed up. And people go, well, that's because it's so close to the sun. The sun's blinding you. But during a total solar eclipse, where the moon blocks out the sun, well, if you were on the moon looking at the Earth, you have a full Earth, like we have a full moon. The Earth is 6 times bigger and a lot shinier than the dusty, dirty ball we call the moon. Well, the Earth shine should light up that moon, and we should be able to see it. No one's ever seen it eclipse the moon, ever.
The Earth is not necessarily brighter than the moon.
It's exactly the opposite. The moon is so much brighter because it's not covered in green plants and water.
The Earth has water, with water is reflected, but even the Earth shine, it's 6 times bigger. Let's just say it's the same as the dusty, dirty ball we call the moon, right? So why can't anyone has ever seen the moon approach, eclipse, or exit the face of the sun? No one's ever seen it.
What do you mean?
No one has ever seen it. They just see the eclipse happen.
You see it slowly happen. I don't understand.
No, you see a darkness of the sun being blocked out, but you don't see any features on the moon ever. No one's ever seen the moon approach the sun. They just see this eclipse happen.
I guess because the brightness of the sun is so bright. You can't.
What about during a total solar eclipse when it's completely blocking out the sun?
We had one 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, how come no one was able to see the moon?
You're staring at an extremely bright object and an object that's not emitting light. It
blocked it. The sun was 100% blocked.
If I stare into a flashlight, I'm not going to see my finger in front of my face, but I'll see the shadow of it. Correct?
But Dave, it's not completely blocked. That's maybe in the flat Earth model, but in the round Earth model, the sun is round. So if you have a light bulb that's completely round and you just put a plate in front of it, you can still see light behind the plate. You know what I mean? Like you're going to still see light behind that plate. So I guess I don't understand.
Here is a distant light, and I'm putting a penny in front of it, it's trying to eclipse.
So bright. You're seeing reflection. When you see an object, you're seeing right.
I got you, but that doesn't look like an eclipse right there. But so
it looks exactly like an eclipse.
It actually doesn't. It doesn't. So
that's not how eclipse goes.
So here we have a light that's the same size as the penny, and then we're going to move the penny right in front of the light, and without moving the light in the distance, and then that looks like an eclipse.
How would this happen on a flat Earth model if you've got the sun and the moon rotating at opposite ends?
Well, the question is how do those things? And this is just me. I'm in this discussion. I'm neutral because I have to be. But how does this planet, this thing that's a bazillion miles away, and this other thing that's a bazillion miles away, just happen to be run right in front of each other? I mean, don't you think that is the odds on that happening?
But that's why they don't happen all the time.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Hold on. Listen, guys, I got to address this. You guys are going to have a lot of time to talk after I leave. Listen, I only have a little over half an hour. Let me answer this, okay? They tell us the sun is 400 times bigger and 400 times farther than the moon, and occasionally we have these eclipses. Well, the chances of that happening are so infinitesimal that it's hard to even imagine a number that big. But it happens.
We have a map that proves these happen.
Hold on, you're not hearing me. I got to make
so perfect you can predict it.
It's really hard to hear. You're not on a mic, and I'm just trying to make a point. So the odds of it happening once are so small, it's ridiculous, but they happen again and again and again, and then they repeat every 18 years. We're corkscrewing through space. Gravity from everything is pulling and pushing, but somehow all the eclipses repeat every 18 years. That doesn't make any sense. That sounds like a geared wheel system. And the way it works is the sun and the moon migrate in between the two tropics. Okay. It takes 6 months for the sun to travel out and 6 months in. The moon does it every 2 weeks, 2 weeks out, 2 weeks in. This is not to scale or speed. And when they come together over a nodal point, that's when we have an eclipse.
It looks like a wheel.
The wheels in the sky keep on turning. So the sun, this is going out to Capricorn. The moon is almost out here. And then when they pass in a mode like this, and then this repeats, it's on an 18-year cycle. There's two eclipse cycles.
This is depicting the eclipse right here?
Yeah, it is right here.
Well, this is not what they see in Alaska. If the sun and the moon are right next to each other, right there, right over Cape Town, essentially in South Africa, they're going to see something completely different than what's in Iceland. But they're not seeing that. They're seeing the same exact thing. Another thing is that your excuse on the other one was that that sounds like a wheel or something, but you just depicted a wheel. The whole thing about
I'm showing you that they're moving on like gears. They're not moving randomly in a random beehive. You know, we have a thing called the three-body problem. Are you aware of the three-body problem?
No, I've never heard of that.
So, well, it's something you should look into, right? The sun, right? The ridiculous story of a gas ball holding on to all of the planets, and they're holding on to them all in a row across the same plane. The sun holds on to the Earth and Mercury and Venus and Jupiter and Saturn at all these ridiculous distances, but somehow the gravity of the Earth can hold on to the moon. And when the moon comes around towards the sun, it doesn't speed up. And when it pulls away from the sun, it doesn't slow down because the Earth's gravity only affects the moon, but the sun's gravity doesn't.
In its elliptical orbit, it does speed up and slow down in an elliptical orbit.
The moon does not. The moon does not. They say that the Earth does.
No,
the Earth does.
The moon goes around the Earth in an elliptical orbit because of the sun's
elliptical. For sure. That's how
it doesn't speed up and slow down when it goes towards the sun and away from the sun. It's not correlated to that. You're incorrect. Look it up. So here's the problem, the three-body problem. You can take the world's best supercomputer.
It is elliptical. It is elliptical.
I agree. It's elliptical, but it's not. Well, they tell us it's elliptical, but so hold on. You can create a supercomputer model. You got a sun and it's holding on to a planet and it goes into orbit and it'll work perfectly. You can predict where it's going to be for days, weeks, months, years. Okay. Then you add one more body, another planet or a moon, and the entire model goes into chaos mode and never repeats. No computer can figure out what it's going to do next. But somehow all of the 60 some odd objects in our solar system.
Show that graphic of the sun shooting through the universe. This is what we're supposedly on right here. Yeah, but what you started off with.
I've never seen this.
The graphic like that. Yeah. Like how do we go around the sun? We got to go past it and then we slow down. How are you going to go past? Like, look at this.
I think that this.
Do you guys understand what that is?
I understand what this is, but this right here also already disproves what Dave just said. He said that all the planets are on the same plane, but right here, it even shows you that they're not on the same plane.
Yes, they are. They're all keeping up with the sun. No, you're not looking at this properly. They're all even with the sun. They're all keeping up with the sun.
They're not.
Because they're in a 3D space on a 2-day. If you just take that one light from behind where it's like pooping out, then yeah, that's on the same plane. But no, see, they're all on different angles. It's like a spiral, like a Christmas tree from the.
So you think we're doing that? We're shooting through the universe like that? You think that?
I mean, who knows? But one thing we do know about the universe is that everything needs force. Force equals ma, mass times. You need force. So
you believe this is happening? You believe this is happening?
I mean, this.
You believe that's happening?
This seems more plausible than individual domes, where if you have two people standing right next to each other, the domes wouldn't clash and make confusing things.
It's your dome of vision, not a physical dome. Your dome of vision.
I don't know what that means. Like
it means like, let's say you and I were 150 miles apart from each other across the flat earth plane. Well, I'm not going to be able to see you. The atmosphere becomes opaque within that 150 miles, and I see within my dome of vision. If you're standing in the fog, you could be reading, I'd say you're at the train station reading your train schedule, and it's super foggy. You can't see anyone else near you, but you can see your train schedule. The person holding their schedule that's 10, 15 feet away from you, they can see theirs, but they can't see you. They're in their dome of vision.
I think that has a lot of holes, especially since that people have different vision types. People have.
So instead of looking at the moon and asking all these questions, what's your one proof of the globe? Because I'm offering 2 Bitcoins for one proof of the globe.
Well, I mean, I think any of these sort of debates where you're offering something, especially like, I mean, and this was another thing.
I'm offering nothing. Just what's your best proof of the globe?
No offer. Forget that.
What's your best proof of the globe?
I mean, I have 2 questions just to get a read off of this. The first question is through more at the flat Earth. It's what? So if gravity does not exist on a flat Earth, so if we are on a flat Earth, what is explaining what we would call gravity?
Very good question. So the whole theory of gravity needs 96% dark matter and dark energy, which they say they've never seen, they've never measured it, but it has to be there for gravity to work. So cool story, right? So
I don't know what that is.
The way the Earth works. It's a giant free energy system. The moon is the anode, the sun is the cathode, the salt water carries the current, and the land is the salt bridge. And we have this, there's free energy everywhere. Tesla proved it. Old technology has it, and they're hiding that from us. And we'll get into why. But the earth has a measurable negative charge. When you lift up off the earth, there's measurable voltage. I think it's 100 volts at just a meter off the ground, and it goes 200 volts at 2 meters. It just goes up from there. So when you're off the ground, the negative charge of the unmoving ground says, hey, it has a weak force, just like they say gravity is a weak force. And they say, down is this way. So if I had a helium balloon, ping pong balls, and rocks, and I held them in the air over a pool and I dropped them, the ping pong ball is going to go up because it's less dense than the air. The rocks and the ping pong balls are going to fall down. The ping pong balls are going to sit on top of the water, and the rocks are going to go to the bottom just because of buoyancy and density. The weak negative charge says, hey, down is this way. Down is down for me. Down is down for Australia. It's not up, it's down. Down is down, up is up. Same for everybody. Left and right, forward and backwards are all relative to whatever direction you're facing, right? So that's how it works. So one way to test it is you take these tinfoil triangles, you crank up the negative charge so it's stronger than the earth, and it goes up, okay? What is that, defying gravity, or is it defying something else?
I mean, this is just magnetism. So you're just pushing up against the magnet that is the bottom of the.
There's no magnet there. It's just a negative charge we're putting into it.
That's what magnets are. You can charge different metals to make them magnetized.
This is tinfoil. It's not magnetized.
It doesn't have to be ferrous.
What I'm saying is I'm just showing you an example where electricity can defy what? A mag train isn't defying. It's floating on a magnetic source. It's not defying gravity. It's defying electricity.
I don't understand.
Only two forces in this world are electricity and magnetism.
Neil deGrasse Tyson said it himself. He's on video saying, when it comes to gravity, we don't know anything. Really.
I don't even know who that is. But
Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Huh? Chocolate Jesus?
You don't know who that is? Neil deGrasse Tyson?
I don't. Anyone who's going to be a scientist and do more YouTube videos than science, maybe don't listen. When you're talking about
that's a beautiful thing.
When you're talking about this, though, this does not disprove gravity. This just proves that you can magnetize metal. Gravity
it's not magnetized.
It's a very strong force.
Why does a helium balloon go up? How come it defies gravity?
Because it's lighter. It's lighter, and it's no way.
Just nothing to do with gravity.
No, it's creating lift. Like planes. We create lift.
It's a force than the air around it.
How does a balloon create lift?
So
a tennis ball floating.
A helium balloon, just like a light balloon or whatever like that. The molecules, they're moving, and that is moving the plastic piece up. It's creating lift. It's not like the gas is sitting.
It's not creating lift. The weight of the air is giving it thrust upwards because the air is heavier. If
that would be counter to the other point about water. If the atmosphere on a flat Earth is all water, and that's how you have humidity, and that's why you can't see stuff, then this helium thing wouldn't work in that model. You have to have molecules that have weights and have movement. Everything in this reality has movement. Force equals ma.
It works perfectly on a flat Earth and a ball Earth. Next.
Hold on, Carlos.
It doesn't actually.
You have a question?
Yeah. So when you're touching on gravitational force, then you have the ocean. 2/3 of the globe, supposedly the globe is ocean, right? The Earth spins 1,000 miles per hour on itself. And there's no drop of water that escapes from the gravitational pull. While birds can fly, you can add up what you want. Birds can fly, insects can fly, helium balloons can float in the air. In the meantime, we have this powerful gravitational force that keeps the Earth's crust and the water without dripping anywhere. How can a bird has the power to propel itself in the air with such a gravity power that can keep the whole ocean.
And why does salt water only have tides and fresh water doesn't? And how come the gravity of the moon can pull the tides? How come it doesn't pull it right off the earth? And then also the other thing, Neil deGrasse Tyson, you're the high priest of scientism. You don't know who he is, but he's like the lead spokesman for scientism. Says the way tides work is you got the sun here and the moon here. And if the earth is in the middle, there's a high tide on one side and another high tide on the other. He says, because the moon is pulling the water and the moon also pulls the earth away from the water on the other side. That's the official explanation for for ties.
not
I say
even
cool story,
Right.
bro, right? Because they got no proof.
I'm talking about.
Is this guy a physicist?
How do you not know who Neil deGrasse Tyson is?
Why would I know
He's been
this
in
person?
Japan, dog.
Do you know who John Lennon
I'm not
is?
gonna know every Japanese person. Is he Japanese?
No, but like I'm not. I don't think Neil deGrasse Tyson's
Wow.
big in Japan.
Getting back to your
Japanese, I just don't understand how we're able to. Is this guy? I don't know how he's able to talk on all science. Like he can talk about
He's the guy.
immunology,
He's the
physics,
Fauci.
chemistry.
He's the Fauci of astrophysics.
Yeah, he
He's
is.
an astrophysicist.
He's the failed actor, actually. Hey, so check this out. You said we're talking about magnetism. This is a Van de Graaff generator. I got a metal plate here, and we're putting a negative charge in it. When that negative charge gets stronger than the Earth's, wood goes up, wood chips, okay? Paper, hair, all sorts of things. It's not defying gravity, right? Now, yes, iron could be magnetic, but I don't know. I've never heard of wood being magnetic, right? So
it can be positively charged, though, not
it's
magnetic.
right. I agree. Listen,
It's like static electricity is not magnetism.
right. So it's the negative charge is overwhelming the Earth's weak negative charge, and it
The positive charge is overwhelming. And positive
no, the
charge-
negative charge.
Well, negative charge
Yeah.
pulls it in, not repulses.
Right.
Okay. So my next question has to be with the zooming in of technology and zooming out. I know we showed a little bit, but I know.
Let's go back. We never fit. We were starting on the boat.
Like
the boat
to me,
sinking.
that is the biggest question I have. Right?
What do you
Let's go
mean by
back to
zooming in and zooming
the
out?
ship sinking in the or going over the curve in the ocean? You know when you see ships on the beach and they go over the ocean,
I see.
everybody thinks that's because it's going over a curve, right?
Is that what you believe?
No.
Right. Let me show you an example.
Stop, Dave.
Why do you think it goes over?
You're not going to be able to see that. You're assuming an Earth where you can easily see the curve because it's not so massive. What you're really seeing is a refraction of the water, and the image is getting like a mirage. It's getting refracted. So
you're not really seeing it.
You're not really seeing it.
Oh shit! Okay, perfect. Watch this.
Well, my question. Okay. How far before you see a curve?
Let's see. Okay, so you can't see it right here, and then we're zooming in.
Can I ask?
We're not zooming
as
in.
we're
Hold
watching
on.
this too.
Look.
Why don't we ever see more water? We always see the same.
So that's a
water.
mirage right
Why
there?
aren't we seeing more water beyond?
Yeah,
the
like
ship?
on the back of
Yeah,
the
we
mirage.
do.
Why aren't
We do.
Why aren't we seeing more water?
That's a mirage.
We
It's a
do.
refraction.
But let me
Where is it?
explain. Let me
Hold
explain.
on. 8 people are talking. Johnny?
But as you zoom in, we always see the same water, though. As you zoom in, we don't see any water beyond that boat as he zooms in.
Well, and this one you don't
we not
because
see-
of the waves. But when we look at things like the black swan picture I showed earlier, you could see the water for miles and miles and miles beyond it.
Why
Right?
not?
What?
You're saying the waves are blocking it?
There's like
Well, right here, it's totally calm, and you can see the
That's
water
not video, though.
way beyond it.
That's a spliced
Let me
photo.
explain why you can't see it. Look, so imagine this is a boat, all right? This is a boat, and this is a wave, right? This is the wave, and it's not really covering the boat. But as the boat gets smaller, due to perspective, if I could do this, it'll start disappearing behind those waves in the foreground. As something goes into the distance, it gets smaller. So a little wave, a millimeter above your eye level or approaching your eye level, will block an entire city line behind you. So
your eyes are not at ground that sea level.
I understand, but everything compresses. The way our eyes see, everything, the sky and the ground compress together, and a little wave here will block out an entire city here because everything gets smaller and smaller and smaller as it goes into the distance. I mean,
So,
if our sun was right
hypothetically,
near us, it would look like this. You move it away, it just gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
So if the camera were high enough, you're saying we could see unending ocean waves.
Well, yeah, you can see farther until the atmosphere becomes so thick that you can't zoom in no matter what zoom you have because the air becomes opaque over distance. Just like a long swimming pool, you can't see the far end of the swimming pool even though the water's clear.
Explain the black swan right there behind you. Explain that. Break
the black
it down.
swan is this camera is 1 foot off the ground. So according to Globe Math, the horizon should be 1.2 miles away. This is 9.4 miles, and not only can we see the entire thing, we could see the land. The water beyond it for dozens of miles. And again, there's more horizon beyond this. You just can't see it. Right? There should be 59 feet of curvature here, but we can still see the surface of the water. The only explanation the Globers have is that refraction lifts it up and stops it right at level. It doesn't lift it up high. It just lifts it up and says, oh, look, it's perfect. You're seeing a mirage. Everything beyond there is a mirage. That's ridiculous. That's the dumbest thing ever.
So if you go up on the top of that structure there, really at the top there,
You'll be able to see farther.
Okay, how far could you see on a flat Earth?
Until the atmosphere blocks you. Here's a perfect example of that.
How far is that?
Well, it's different every single day. This is the viewing spot. Watch this carefully. This is a viewing spot in Aluja, France. And out here is Mount Canigou, but you can't see it because it's 175 miles away. At 175 miles, there is over a mile of curvature. No, I'm sorry. The top of Mount Canigou would be a mile below the curve with using the Earth curve calculator. The top should be a mile away. But as the sun migrates in between the two tropics, there's a couple days a year, twice a year, the sun will line up with Mount Canigou. And as it goes beyond it, all of a sudden you can see it. The light bouncing off Mount Canigou can't push through the thickness of the atmosphere, so it looks like sky just because you can't see it. But when the sun backlights it, here's the mountain. The entire mountain is here, and the top where the mouse is should be a mile below the curve. Right? But there is no curve. It's right there. It's not a mirage because as you see, as the sun goes farther away, it'll block the sun. And the only explanation is, oh, the sun and the mountain are far below the curve. They're just refracting up and stopping magically at eye level.
What elevation was that photo taken?
I would say, could you get a photo of the full mountainside? Because I'm pretty sure it's different than what that looks like.
It doesn't matter. The entire top of the mountain should be a mile below the curvature.
How tall is that mountain?
Any of it. Go look it up. Go listen. I don't have all the numbers in front of me. Go look it up. And by the way, in the app under We Can See Too Far, there's videos that break it down, give you all of the information. We've taken the time to put all the information for people like you to look. But again, belief is the enemy of knowing. It's easy to believe. It takes time and effort to know, right?
Is this free?
What's that? It's no, you have to pay for it. It's $3. So you're buying me a half of a beer. All right.
Hey. No, nobody. Dad always said, "Don't hate a guy for making $1."
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's the thing.
Why would it be free?
By the way, all of the information is free on the internet. Good luck finding it. Good luck finding it.
He's not Jesus.
Yeah.
Bible's free.
The app.
Do anything for free.
The app is $3.
But I don't get any money for proving the Earth is not round. You know, like I think that.
Listen,
you'd be rich if you did.
Exactly.
If you wanted to spend $500,
I understand what you're saying. That his thing is his livelihood.
I could just
as
easily sit here and say, you know what? If we didn't focus on the Earth being flat, we could focus on actual conspiracy theories that are really screwing us. This could be a psyop, just trying to get us off track. You know.
But let me tell you why this is important. Because for me, they're lying to us. If they're lying to us about, let's say, Iran Contra, Gulf of Tonkin, and those are old ones. JFK, you know, and then you keep going. Like, what else are they lying to us about? And so the question is, you asked this at the beginning, and I think it's a very important question.
Yeah, why?
Why would they lie about this? Yeah. And this is not saying whether it is or isn't.
But 5 more minutes. Well,
okay.
Dan, let me get into 5 more minutes.
Let's get into the why.
Before why, let me just say something for 10 seconds. Do you know what Operation Paperclip is?
Yeah.
Do you know that NASA was formed by Nazis?
Yes.
Okay, so do you know all our space information comes from NASA?
I mean, some
they control all the space information. Look into it.
Okay.
So Nazis have changed their name from Werner von Braun was Hitler's right-hand man. They bring him over.
Yeah.
He directs the fake moon missions. The Nazis form NASA. Dave Weiss, just have that in your mind. I mean,
well, you know what would be
stuff.
cool to get from Dave is you said you're using a calculation for the curvature. What is that calculation that you're using? You're saying it's like
it's not my calculation. If you look up the Earth curve calculator, there's 3 different ways to do it, and they all come out about the same. But if you take the Earth curve calculator of the basic one of 8 inches per mile squared, and go for 2,000 miles or 20,000 miles, doesn't work. It doesn't calculate negative numbers. It works perfectly accurate for the first couple thousand miles, 2,000 miles. It doesn't matter. I just need it to work for 200 miles. And it works completely fine. But here's what got me into flat Earth. I said, okay, they're seeing things too far. And I said, there's a buoy that's off on my beach about 11 miles away. And I said, and I rounded down to give the globe every benefit. I said, what's the curvature at 10 miles if you're just at sea level? and it said the curvature is 66 feet. So then I went onto some Globe Troll sites and I said, what are they saying the curvature is? Like the meta bunk or whatever, that slime ball. And he says, oh, no. You're the thing you're looking at is halfway down and you're halfway on the other side. So it's only half of the curvature. That's ridiculous, but I'll give it to him, 33 feet. So I went down to my beach, perfectly calm morning. I bought a $1,000 camera tripod, zoomed in. There it is. There's the water for dozens of miles beyond it. Okay. Right there. And the buoy's only maybe 10 feet high. There should be 33 feet, really 66 feet of curvature. Nope, it's right there. And I could see the water for miles and miles and miles beyond it. So that right there said, okay, maybe the earth is just bigger. So the distances that we've seen, even without infrared, now they're using infrared and we're seeing, over 1,000 miles. The earth would have, the radius of the earth is just under 4,000 miles, the radius from the center to the surface, right? For the distances that we're seeing, the radius would have to be like 100,000 miles. Okay. If the earth is 100,000 miles versus 4,000 miles in the radius, we got a big problem also. All right. So either way, it's a massive lie. And again, you can go look at that curvature calculation yourself and figure it out.
I guess there's a difference between curvature and drop. Those aren't the same thing.
If the earth has a radius, as you move that radius, it has a drop, an ever accelerating drop. Okay. My arm's up here. I move it a little bit. My fingers have dropped just a tiny bit. I move it more, drop, and then it starts dropping exponentially.
What do you believe the difference is?
Drop and curvature are two different things.
Well, explain?
Drop is what he's saying. Curvature, you can use trigonometry to get the curve of a let's just say a circle. You can get a curvature, but it's going to be different than the number you get for a drop.
What is a sniper? A sniper uses curvature.
Any scout, sniper, and military guy that does long distance shooting, they use gravity, curvature, wind to calculate their shot. So if the Earth was not round,
are you talking about NASA? Are you trusting NASA?
Dave, hold on. Carlos, go on.
Let me throw in here, Dave. We don't have to be a scientist for that one. What does it matter if you say drop or curvature if 80 miles away from your eyesight at eye level, you should whether it curves down or drops, it should be a mile below your eye level.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if you call it drop or curvature, you shouldn't be able to see it. And the fact that you can see hold on. The fact that you can see a fucking ship 100 miles away with a telescope, that shouldn't be the case. If it's a globe, it couldn't be. It's not possible. And you say refraction. Refraction doesn't explain that either.
We have testimony from submarine navigators that say when they're sitting on the bottom of the abyssal plain, they can see other submarines over 100 miles away. There should be a mountain over a mile high between them. You'd have to believe that the sonar climbs the mountain, hits the submarine, bounces back, climbs the mountain, comes back, and they can see it. That's not how sonar works. Anything in its way, from a fish to a pile of dirt, will bounce back and hit them, right? And also the same on the surface of the water. There's guys in the gunneries, whatever, that say they can take a pencil thin laser beam and light up a ship over 100 miles away. There should be a mountain of water over 6,000 feet tall.
Yep. So exactly what Carlos said, no matter if that 8 inches per mile square is totally accurate or not, if it's a little less, at 100 miles, according to that formula, there should be over 6,000 feet of curve. But if it's off and it's 4,000 feet of curve or 3,000, it doesn't matter. At 100 miles, you can't laser point and target another ship, which the Navy, they do. And there's a microwave telecommunication satellites that are
microwave towers.
They're 50 feet high. And this is real. And they're 150 miles away. And they only work if there's no obstruction. There can't be any obstruction. Microwave telecommunications, if they have 50-foot towers, as long as there's nothing in its way, it could go on.
Line of sight. It's line of sight. It doesn't curve over anything. Here's the other thing. This is what, you go up, the earth should drop down. The horizon shouldn't get higher on a ball, but this is what we experience. And then, so here's an example. If you're using the earth curve calculator, if you're flying at 39,000 feet, the distance to the the distance to the horizon is 242 miles. Well, if you're on the surface of the Earth, 242 miles away, there should be a 39,050 foot drop. Well, an airplane already up 39,000 feet. You add those two numbers together. When you're flying in an airplane, the horizon that you should see is 78,000 feet below you. You don't know how high that is. You two spy planes don't fly that high. 78,000 feet. But the next time you're on an airplane on a clear day, look out the window on one side, look at the other, look at the horizon, draw an imaginary line, and it comes right between your eyes. Okay. It should be almost 80,000 feet below you, but it's not. It's at eye level. Airplanes fly straight and level over an Earth plane. They don't spin and dive over a spinning, wobbling globe. That's just insanity to believe that.
There's got to be some curve at 100 miles in the ocean, whether it's 8 inches per mile square or fucking 2 inches.
You feel the plane just going like this a little bit?
No, because that's not how it's flying. When you're flying on a Earth, you're assuming that it just here's the ball and you're flying like this and you're just always trying to curve around this ball, right? That's
it should be.
No, the whole atmosphere, everything around the Earth, everything is rotating around this ball, right? And this plane that is on this huge, the planet is so massive. You can say, 4,000
But there's a
miles
curve, though.
massive.
No, you're talking about massive, but call it massive, call it huge, call it gigantic. There should be curve. There's a formula for the curve.
If you're flying for an hour,
but it appears to be flat, there's got to be curve, and that's the formula.
If you're flying for an hour, there should be the horizon should drop 30 miles. If you don't nose down, you're going to be 30 miles higher in the sky. 30 miles in 1 hour. That's a mile every 2 minutes.
It's not flat. If you're saying it's a round, then there's got to be curve.
You don't need a curve.
You
have gravity affecting on you while you're flying. You're trying to push up while
gravity is keeping you.
What else would be keeping you? Centrifugal force or positive, negative? How does the positive and negative
you gotta
affect
account for the
metal
curve? If you're saying the world is curved or a ball, you have to account for it. You're just saying no. You don't have to account for it. Gravity's just going to account for it.
Gravity's holding on to the and spinning around.
Gyroscopes.
It's why we have gyroscopes on a plane. It's trying to give you an ability. I'm not a pilot, so I'm not going to be able to explain it completely perfectly. But when you're flying in a plane, I've been in the front of a plane before. The horizon is it's like you can see it kind of tilting on the front, and the plane is being brought down by gravity while lift is trying to take it up. So it's in this constant battle of trying to keep this plane afloat. It's not like it just hovers in place because there's magnets pulling up on it and it's metal. So gravity is pulling it down while you're pushing forward. Whenever you have downward force,
when you're in an airplane, when you're in an airplane and the pilot starts to guys, I got 8 more minutes. So let me get a couple points out and then you guys are free to not have me rudely interrupt. When you're taking a snooze in an airplane and the pilot just starts nosing down to, hey, we're getting close to the airport, maybe a half hour away, you wake up immediately. You notice that little bit of change. But the speeds that we're flying through this universe are insane. Here's a hypersonic sled. Ready? Watch it carefully because you're not going to be able to see it. It's going by at Mach 8.6. Did you see it? Okay. Mach 8.6. This is how fast this thing is going. Well, we're orbiting the sun 10 times faster than that. Okay. And we're orbiting the sun. Is it 10 times?
60,000 miles an hour.
66,000. It's 10 times faster. And we're chasing the sun 90 times faster than that. Okay. In the elliptical speeding up and slowing down orbits, but somehow, water never friggin' moves. You don't sense any of that. I mean, go outside, clear your head, look around. You're not moving. You're perfectly still. The earth is perfectly calm. Sam's favorite picture. This doesn't move. I mean, the tiniest movement. Tap your foot on the side of that beach. Bam, a wave will go all the way across, right? We're not moving, right? To believe that we're corkscrewing through space, but you can build balancing rocks perfectly. It's insanity. We're not moving.
No, people always say,
total insanity.
People always say, when you're on a plane, you don't feel it, and you're going 500 miles an hour, you don't feel it because you're going straight. If you were going 500 miles an hour in a circle, you would feel it the whole time. You would be pressed against the side of the plane the whole time. You would feel it 100% of the time. So
did you not just disprove flat Earth then?
No. Let me explain. It's a horrible example because
planes are not going in circles. They're going like this and like this and like that and like that and like this, like this.
Yeah, but take a flight from, let's say, San Diego to New York, right? You go straight. Okay, now go from Chile to New Zealand. It's not a straight line.
It's
you have to go back to straight line to LA, and then in a straight line. It's a bunch of straight lines.
Yeah, you're going spinning up and around.
Planes fly in straight lines.
Sure.
Okay, they're not constantly turning. They're not. Okay, but if they were, you would feel it the whole fucking time. So we're moving. The Earth ain't, and the sun, according to the heliocentric model, is not moving in a straight line. We're going. We're spinning on our own axis at 100 miles an hour or 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. So we're spinning. We don't feel that spin, and we're spinning around the sun at 60,000 miles an hour, and the sun is spinning around the center of the Milky Way at 600,000 miles an hour. We're spinning 3 different ways at incredible speeds, and when you're spinning, you feel the spin. If we were going straight, then you could use that. Oh, on a plane, we're going 500 miles an hour. I don't feel it. But we're not going straight. We're constantly spinning. We're spinning on our own axis. We're spinning around the sun at 60,000 miles an hour. And then the sun is spinning around the center of the Milky Way at 600,000. We're spinning 3 totally different directions, and we don't feel shit.
Right. And getting back to the plane routes, look, check this out. Perth to Los Angeles. This is what FlightAware says is the shortest route, but this isn't the way they go. When they go from Perth to Los Angeles, this is the route. They fly in straight lines. Perth to Malaysia, and then a straight line here, right? The routes that they tell us they're going on airplanes are ridiculous. If the Earth was a ball going from Buenos Aires to Perth, again, this is the straightest route, but you're not allowed to fly over Antarctica because we could disturb the penguins. So you just go around it, right?
But could it be because there are no airports over Antarctica and they want a place to land?
I'm with you. Listen, but there's bigger stretches of ocean. That's the same problem. I get it.
What about Pacific Ocean?
You got Easter Island out here. You got plenty of places to land. This would be the route that they take, but that's not the route that they take. This is the route that they take. They go from Perth. They go all the way up to either Miami or Houston. Then they stop in LA. Then they stop in Sydney. They go over here. It takes 26 hours. Sometimes they go this way over to Europe, Singapore. Right? They don't cut right under a ball. Right? That's not the way it works.
That's a flat Earth model, by the way.
This is the flat Earth model.
Top-down globe that you just.
No, it's not. Your globe is a flat Earth wrapped around a sphere.
A globe.
That's literally a globe that you just flatten. That's what that
untrue.
is.
Untrue.
The opposite.
It's exactly it.
The opposite is true.
The history of that map is a globe that you flatten down. That's what that globe. I
totally, but it's the opposite. It was flat, and then they made it a globe. It works both ways.
Right. And listen, the whole idea that we've known the Earth is a globe for 2,000 years, nonsense. The story of Aristophanes is nonsense. They were teaching flat Earth across the world in the 1920s and 30s. Okay, everyone in America was taught the Earth was flat in the 1920s. Okay, so I interviewed an old 102-year-old woman, and she was taught in public schools, not religious schools. Here's the thing. You want to prove the Earth is a globe? They can put this to bed right away, and then I'll get into why the lie, and then I got to roll. They say Antarctica is 13,000 miles around, right? We get 2 airplanes. We go to the base over here. We refuel, fill them with Neil deGrasse Tyson, flat earthers, ball earthers, teachers, professors, and one plane, 1,000 feet in the air, just follows the coastline, and everybody watches the coastline. And then the other plane goes this way, follows the coastline. 9 hours later, 6,500 miles later, they should meet over here. But for some reason, they don't. They can't do it because the last person to try that was Captain Cook. It took him 3.5 years. He went over 60,000 miles going all the way around because Antarctica is not the continent at the bottom of a ball. It's a massive edge of our known world. Okay.
Where did you get that from?
What's that?
Where did you get that from? This little map of his.
This is the track Captain Cook take. Look it up. He did it 3 times. It took him over 3.5 years. He went over 60,000 miles. Okay. Amelia Earhart, this is her trip, right? East and west are circles. So you can circumnavigate in circles because no one on a flat Earth, you can only circumnavigate east and west. Well, billions of people have done it. Billions of people have circumnavigated east and west. 0 people have done it north-south. 0. That's a problem.
I don't know what that means.
What that means is you fly around the world this way. No one's done it, but they fly around the world this way. It works. And the way that works on a flat earth is like this. At the center, we have a magnetic source. We believe it's a mountain. All compasses will point to it. So I'm trying to push this compass west, and check this out. West is a circle. I have to keep that needle pointed towards the center. So I'm dead reckoning west, but I'm going in a circle. Weird, right? Doesn't prove the earth is flat because it works on a ball also. Okay. I could go east. Same thing. I got to keep turning to make it a circle. All right. The needle always has to point towards the magnetic north. So I'm trying to dead reckon east. Hey, I went to left New York. I went east. I got back to where I am. Oh, the earth is a ball. No, not true. Now, if I try to dead reckon west without turning, if I don't correct to the north, I'm going south. Bam. South is every direction away from magnetic north, right? If the earth was a ball, you should be able to go this way and then pop up over here. It's never been done. Never been done. Okay.
Like Pac-Man, where you go through one end, you come through the other end.
Well, no. If that you need a Pac-Man flat earth to make that work, but nobody's ever done it. It hasn't been done. And then the guy that said he did it,
navigate north to south. It's always done east to west.
Yeah.
So it's never done. And you could explain that if in a flat earth, because because if you go south over the Antarctic, who knows what's out there? Nobody knows what's out there. So
no one's ever flown over Antarctica is what you're saying.
No one's ever, you can go out over Antarctica.
Nazis and aliens.
Yeah, there's, and Admiral Byrd's been out there, Operation High Jump, Operation
New Schwabenland.
Fishbowl.
How about we just we all take a job over in Antarctica? They have companies right now. You can go apply.
You can, but you're not allowed to explore.
To get to Antarctica.
At the swarm, we had a guy that said that he went to Antarctica, and he's like, "Well, you can't really do nothing."
Yeah, I mean, it's like a national reserve.
It's so hard to get there. It is so hard to get there. Like you're putting your life in danger to go there. We had a guy.
Hard to get there.
Here's a map that was found.
It's hard to travel outside of where they want you to be.
That's impossible. Exactly. Yeah. So they got a little
like
spot
you can
for
get there. You just go to Chile, whatever. Yeah, like you can get
a little spot.
He flew. He took a boat in. He said he almost died.
Let me ask you a question. So this is the ZQ pilot. This guy was gonna fly, circumnavigate north pole to pole, and so he went from the North Pole, Alaska, over here down to these islands over here, Santiago. Then he went here to the South Pole, and he said, "Oh, the weather was too bad," so he turned around and came back. And we're like, "Oh well, he's not gonna get the world record." Well, Guinness gave him the world record for circumnavigation. Does that look like circumnavigation to you? Right? All he did was he went down here, he touched the post, and then he came back. Right? So that's not circumnavigation. That's easily done on a flat earth. No one's ever gone down here and popped up over here. So why the lie? Okay. They've got us in a prison and we don't see the walls. If you put a wall around someone, hey, you can't leave California, you can't leave the United States, you can't go past the equator. Everyone wants to go beyond it. We're human. We want to see what's on the other side of that wall. So they put us in a prison for our mind. And that prison is the globe. They want us to believe that we are insignificant, we're spinning out of control, lost in space. An asteroid could take us out at any moment. On Halloween, NASA says, "Oh, we saw a jack-o'-lantern asteroid, almost missed us." And just yesterday, they said they saw patriotic color supernova or something. The dumbest crap ever. They're literally just keeping us dumb, keeping us fascinated with space. When were you introduced to the heliocentric model and space travel? And the answer is before you can talk. And did they show you anything other than cartoons? And the answer is no. You've only seen cartoons. You haven't seen anything real from space because space doesn't exist as how we say it. So the other point is these people that are running the world are evil. They're devil. They worship Satan, whatever name you want to give it. And they don't want you knowing that you are at the center of creation. They don't want you to know that you have true power and nobody has power over you. They don't want you to know that the only power they have over you is in your imagination. Because imagine this. Everyone sees your podcast. Sam, this goes viral. 325 million people in the United States watch it tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yes, and
then they all go, "Oh, You know what? I'm just going to ignore the government. Well, guess what? Government's done. We won't even know who they are because no one will be paying any attention to them. So they don't want us to know that we have this God-given or natural free will that no one's allowed to take from us. They know that they can't take it from us. They only know that we can give it to them. So they keep us living in fear, living in lack. They keep us believing that this is all there is, Truman. There's nothing else to discover, right? It's all programming for your mind. And then the amazing thing is I have to give them big credit to the elite. They have brainwashed people to fight for their own enslavement. It's unfriggin' real, right? People, no matter what you show them, did you see the other day with the guy coming out of the vaccine center convulsing and nobody got out of line? They just wheeled him out and everyone still went in to get their shot. I mean, they have us believing utter nonsense. They have us believing that we are insignificant, that we have no power. And they do it all with cartoons. They have us believing complete and total nonsense.
I agree with you there. I just don't think that having the Earth be flat or round impacts
the lie. The shape is what matters.
Let's see for a second.
But the lie doesn't make any sense. Like there's no purpose.
It does make sense. Why? Because
I just said there's no purpose. Not that.
Well, there is purpose. And,
what's the purpose?
And I know I've been arguing one side, but for me, it's just it goes along the lines of like letting us know how not special are, because what happens is now we're on a rock hurling through space. We can't do anything about it. And now these beings from other planets are visiting, and they have all power. They're the most powerful things in the world.
Viruses, asteroids, aliens.
It's all the same. No, I'm not mixing it.
It's all the same.
It's all layers of it.
No, I mean, so you're saying that because we're on this planet, we're just hurling through space, we're not special. But what I'm saying is that we could be equally special on that or a flat Earth, because on a flat Earth, we have no control on the planet.
But it changes what the
game
is. It changes the playing board.
What does it change?
Right. There's unlimited resources. There's unlimited food. There's unlimited free energy. You have free will. They're hiding free energy from us. They're hiding more land. They're hiding resources.
I mean, I think they're hiding stuff in Antarctica. That's why you don't see people going the other way around. Right. I don't think those ideas, they don't have to be different.
Because
that's what I'm saying.
I understand. Let's for a second.
Like all these lands, I don't think, I mean, if you're looking at just reality, right? Everything has a finite time, even humanity, even your life. And you're talking about an infinite plane with infinite resources, and we see nothing like that even when we look at ourselves.
Well, because only
thing that's like that is God.
Our ability to grasp infinity. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that is within our grasp of understanding.
Well, we're born and we die, right?
Yeah.
So it's a finite amount of time.
No.
Is it not?
No.
Your soul is infinite.
Do you believe in God?
Yeah.
Okay.
Your soul is infinite. But in this reality, it's a finite
But you live many lives.
What?
You live many lives.
What do you mean? You're born and you die.
And then you come back and you live another life.
No, I mean, I don't think that. You may think that.
Well, that's the whole point. Is it's abundance versus scarcity.
I think it's scarcity in this reality.
Yeah, that's how they control you.
No, I just think that's just a reality.
But this becomes dimension. Abundance.
But it's
hey guys, I got to run. Listen, thank you so much for having me. Sorry I have to run. Got family, 4th of July. We
literally 4th of July was yesterday.
I know, but we had crappy weather. We have a beautiful day here. Listen, Sam. Listen. You're a good family man. I just want to say, Flat Earth matters so much. Get the app, watch the daily video every day, and then you'll get it. The frequently asked questions will answer all the questions that you have. And click Why the Lie. Click Why the Lie. Click the Ewarrenon series in the app. And just start watching, because it'll save you a ton of time. It's $3. There's no, you can subscribe or not. You still get everything. Okay. So don't worry about it. Just get it and check it out. And the last thing is, don't let them control your mind with cartoons, because that's what they're doing. It's all cartoons and everybody falls for it. So there you go.
It is programming early. That's why religion gets in early. That's why this space
is like,
look what they're trying to do with
kids.
With
it's all over. It's
with sexuality. They're trying to get it so early they'll just plug into you when you're impressionable. And it's just unbelievable. Bye, Dave.
Hey, thanks guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.
For me, all of this is to make
the Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock app. A dynamic new app to teach family and friends about where they actually live. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun measures the hours and days. The moon measures the weeks and months. The star constellations measure the seasons and years. 1212 or 24-hour clock face, or go hands-free. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app with new added features. World Time. See what time it is all around the flat Earth. A true Earth compass that shows true navigation across and around the flat Earth plane. Weather. Tap for detailed local weather information. Know what phase and where the moon is at all times. Watch the sun travel between the tropics for the seasons. Select an amazing background. Add your own or have the app change it to a new one automatically every time you use the app. Add a countdown to your next big date. Learn the truth about our world with the featured video of the day. Web button for additional flat Earth related features, from the mythical curve calculator all the way to Tartaria. While talking to friends, easily pull up pictures that expose the globe lie and shine light on the flat Earth truth. Video playlists in different languages. See the real trade winds circling the flat Earth, and clean screen features. Simply click off the items you don't wish to see. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app is the best tool to show your friends and strangers how our flat Earth actually works.